Everyone tells you to just use ChatGPT for everything, but I think that's the fastest way to just stay kind of average when it comes to AI. Because the truth is, there's no one size fits all solution to everything. And in this video, I'm going to share the 13 specific AI use cases and the exact tool I rely on for each. So you'll finally know when to use ChatGPT and when to not. And look, I've tested all the big players: ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Manus, Perplexity, Reddit. And here's what most people don't realize: using the wrong AI tool is like hiring a surgeon to paint your house. It might actually work, but it's not the right tool for the job. And that's where people get stuck, I think. They hear the hype, understandably. They expect one tool to do it all, and they feel disappointed when it doesn't deliver. But once you understand the strengths of each platform, it kind of all clicks. Like Claude is unbeatable for deep writing and coding. Manus, incredible for extended research and compiling information. Perplexity gives you really specific answers when you need it. And at 8N, it's kind of that secret weapon for agents and automations. In this video, I'm breaking it all down for you, tool by tool, use case by use case. So by the end, you'll have a clear AI toolkit that actually matches what you're trying to do. No more guessing, no more wasted hours, just the right tool every time. And the first tool is Claude. Claude wins for writing. Anytime I want to write something for my business, for the YouTube channel, I'm using Claude because it just understands human natural language the best. And when it comes to Claude and writing, I'm always using projects. Talked about projects on the channel before, but if you're not working within a project, you're like recreating the wheel from scratch every time, and it's just a big old waste. And so I have projects in here for my business at Castos. I have projects in here for writing emails. And so anytime I want to write something, I have all of the hard work done of building a system prompt that's really robust, a bunch of examples of kind of who I am and who I want to emulate, and examples of things that I want to do. And I can just come in here and I can plop in a very straightforward prompt and just a topic that I want to write an email about. And it spits out a wonderful email that I can then copy and paste. And yeah, I'll modify it and kind of massage it a little bit, but 95% of the work has been done from me creating an idea and a gist of something I want to talk about to creating a great email, a great blog post, a great announcement, a great piece of landing page copy, and I have projects for all of them. Okay, the other place that Claude wins big time is in coding. So you can switch models. So most of the time for writing, we'll use Sonnet 4 as the model. But Opus 4 is the powerhouse model, I think, across all industries. You might hear some people say, oh, things like Grok might win in certain use cases in coding. But I think if you're like, hey, I just want to code up a thing, you're going to use Claude and you're going to use the Opus 4 model. And so we're going to have it build Pong because Pong is an awesome game and it goes back to the old school like Atari roots. And so what is different about Claude is it's building it right here in the app. You're not going to have to download anything at the end of this. We're going to be able to play this game right here. And so it might be like, hey, if you just want to do something fun or you have kids, you want to show them, hey, this is what you can do with coding, you can go build this. And if you're like, hey, Craig, this is not realistic for my business, because we're all business people here, I think, right? You can say, hey, cool, build me an interactive financial dashboard based on our P&L so that I can forecast the next 12 or 24 months based on these four inputs. And it would do that. 100% it would do that. It would do it right here in the browser, just like this is doing now. So you can make informed and educated decisions about what you need to do to move your company forward. Cool? Okay, so Pong is done. That was real time. Didn't edit that at all. Had a couple of seconds there at the end. Okay, so to play, W and S to move up and down. The right player uses up and down to move. And I'm really bad at playing both sides of this, so I'm going to try and do this, and we'll see how it goes. Oh my goodness, this is really hard. It's really hard to do. So like incredible, right? Oh, now it's going faster. Okay, I lost. Okay. Okay, so you get the point. You're not here to watch me play Pong. Claude, incredible for coding, does a great job. One shot this game that took years to develop, back in the day. Okay. Okay, so next thing is image generation. And we're gonna go to Gemini for this. And you can see the header here is the new image generating tool is the best image generating model. If you're on YouTube at all, which you are because you're here, you've seen Nano Banana, and it's amazing. It's honestly amazing. And so we're gonna have it modify an existing YouTube thumbnail for a video I published here on the channel. So we're gonna select the image model, and we are in 2.5 Flash, which is the kind of cheaper model that's free inside, I think, every Gmail and every Google Workspace account. With 2.5 Pro, you would get kind of limited out here, but I've created a ton of images with 2.5 Flash, and they're amazing. But we're just gonna do this real time because that's how we roll here on the channel. Okay, so what we're gonna do here first, this little trick I just learned is we're gonna say, I want to modify a YouTube thumbnail for my channel, just to give us some context of like what we're going to do here. Okay. And so we've selected the image model here. Now we're going to upload the file from the computer. And it's this one that I just did. So I did a previous video about 9 AI tools that we all need to learn. And so we're going to say, give these white circles a drop shadow that's light gray. And so one trick with Nano Banana and Gemini for image is if you upload a rectangular image like this, it's going to give you a rectangular image back. Okay, cool. So I can see the drop shadow here. That's pretty cool. Okay, so now let's say make the background a blue-green gradient because I don't want black and white everywhere. I want some color and spice things up, just like my background here. I want it a little more interesting. Okay, and it did it, and it maintained the drop shadow on these. It didn't give drop shadow on all these, so I'm gonna say, make sure you have the same drop shadow on the left and the right. Cool, so be curious to see if it drop shadows away on the left and the right differently, or if it always drop shadows the same direction. I'm not sure which is best. It looked like it just removed it all. Okay, so like it's not perfect, right? But a heck of a lot better than I might be able to do in a tool. And if you're not paying for things like Canva Pro, then Nano Banana and image generation is amazing. I have a whole thread here of images that I did from a previous video, and like they're literally amazing. So check out the other video, link in the description below, on a deep dive on Nano Banana and image generation and editing with Gemini 2.5 Flash. I gotta say, I used to use ChatGPT all the time, and I think a lot of us did. I don't use ChatGPT much anymore, except for maybe a little bit of GPTs and a little bit of image generation, but I use it a lot for strategic thinking. And so you might come in here, and I'm going to start a temporary chat just so this doesn't kind of pollute my timeline. But you might come in here and say, okay, so I'm asking it to help me brainstorm marketing ideas for my business at Castos. And so it's kind of, hey, what about thought leadership, podcasting? Since Castos is a podcasting company, can we do podcast about podcasting, long form content hubs, and standard random blog posts, create deep dives around kind of a pillar? That's cool. That's kind of what we do. Repurpose content, customer spotlight series. Okay, cool. Like, let's say I like this one and I want to go deep on this one. So like, hey, I like that. Let's focus on this and let's kind of dive in. Okay, so step one, define the format, build a repeatable outreach system. Really important if you've ever done this kind of thing. Prepare interview structure. Okay, cool. So this is all making sense. Now say like, I don't want to make the email. You go make the email for me so that I can just click send. And so this is where I think like, especially if ChatGPT knows you already because it has unlimited memory. It remembers everything that you've ever chatted with it about. I'm in a temporary chat here, so this is not pulling from my previous interaction, but it gets really good the more you use it and the more you're really specific like this about what you like and you don't like. So this is a paid ChatGPT account. It really is very valuable. I spent probably an hour and a half last night just talking to ChatGPT and refining a couple things I'm thinking about in my business. And it really is a very good thought partner. It's probably the single best thing that I use ChatGPT for these days. Okay, staying on ChatGPT, if I have like a really basic thing I want it to do, I might give it to ChatGPT. And so like I have this P&L statement that I created on my computer. I want to just put that into a graph. Let's ask ChatGPT to do that. So uploaded this file, it's just in a CSV format, and this is just dummy data. But I'm asking it like, hey, I want to make this look pretty. Maybe I have a presentation I want to give, or I want to use this in a YouTube video or something. How do I take this and okay, so I said, hey, cool. I just wanted to transform this CSV into a graph, and it did that. And I can go in and play with this now too, right? I can say, oh, cool, tell me about this. And if I wanted to add data to it, I could. I can adjust the colors. So like that color doesn't really make sense. I want this to be a little different. So you can do all this. And when you're done with it, you can just download this to your computer. Cool. So basic, straightforward tasks, a lot of kind of data transformation. Chat GPT is usually where I start. Sometimes it doesn't always work. You might need to go to Claude or Gemini, but those three are definitely where I go for like straightforward tasks where you want to transform data. Chat GPT is usually a pretty good place to start. Okay, the next one is video. We covered HeyGen on the channel before. So if you want to create like an AI avatar of yourself, I think HeyGen is very obviously the place to go there. But for regular video generation, I would probably use ChatGPT and its Sora tool. So here in Sora, you're able to create videos just based on a text. I won't do it now because it does take like several minutes to create, but you can see some of the examples of things that people have made here. The internet is full of these examples, and these serve as kind of like pretty good pieces of inspiration for you to create an image or a video just based on a prompt. It's pretty incredible, some of the things that folks are doing here. So Sora, the thing for both videos and images if you want to create really high quality multimedia content, right? Pretty cool, the things that folks are doing here. And it really is just a prompt. Okay, so if you're like, okay, I got this really big, hairy task I want you to tackle, Manus is your tool. So while we talk about like GPTs and projects and gems and spaces from Perplexity a lot as a place where if I know what I want to do and I want to do it over and over, I need to create a dedicated space to do that. And that's where a place really works well. But if you're like, I don't really want it, I've never done this thing before, I don't have all the context, I just want a really powerful AI tool to go do it for me, Manus is it. And I'm going to show you some research I did the other day for this channel and a GPT actually that I created. So I'm using AI to build other AI. And what I did is I said, hey, I'm creating this custom GPT that will generate hooks and intros. I like these channels. Go find more channels like this and their highest performing videos from the last few years. And so it did this. It pulled up knowledge because it knows about me and the channel that I run and kind of like my style. Knowledge is a specific thing to Manus that is across all of your chats. You can have 20 pieces of knowledge in Manus. So think of it like the context seeding of a project or a GPT, but across every interaction that you have. So it did this. It went and researched all these popular things. And then it came down here and said, okay, I'm about to drop the hammer and do wide research. And it went and did this for about 6 hours and pulled the top videos from these channels, the hooks, and what made them work. It did this, it came back, and it gave me this set of documents down here. And so if you're like, hey, I want to go do a whole bunch of research, but I don't want to go do I don't want to go do the research. I want to use AI to do it for me. 100% Manus is your tool here. It is an agent. It is an AI agent that you can go and say, hey, please go do this thing. And especially with wide research, it can do an enormous amount of work with literally just a few lines of a prompt. So we talked about Perplexity on the channel before. It usually is thought of as a research tool, which is definitely where it shines. But one of the great things about Perplexity is you can use whichever model you want. So if you're like, hey, I only want to pay for one tool, maybe Perplexity is it. You can just say, hey, you pick whatever the best model is. But if you're like, hey, I know I'm going to want to use Chat GPT or Gemini 2.5 or Grok or whatever, and you don't want to pay for all those tools, you can just come in here and say, hey, specify this or use it whenever the time is right. Perplexity also has this concept of like news and discover, which is pretty cool. And they have spaces. So you can create things like GPTs or projects, and you can even explore existing ones, kind of like the GPT library from ChatGPT. So you can come in here and say like, hey, interview role play coach. Cool. So like I'm interviewing for jobs, help me like do a better job of this. Pretty cool, right? So there's all sorts of ones here. And I think these are all mostly geared towards business applications. So instead of recreating the wheel from scratch, you could come in here and use a space from Perplexity to create that kind of dedicated place where you do a very specific bit of work. But back to research, you can come in and ask it a question about a topic. So hydrogen battery breakthrough, Japan 90C. I don't even know what that means, but you're like, okay, cool. Tell me like what's going on here. Oh, Japan has achieved a major hydrogen battery breakthrough. Cool, super cool. Okay, that's great. This is super interesting, but like I have more questions. I want to go and dive deeper into this. And so you can go down the rabbit hole, just like you probably do on YouTube with my videos, right? And you're like, whoa, that's really cool. But like, I don't want to just read the overview. I want to see the details of it. You can do that by clicking into the source from any of these summaries that Perplexity is generating for you. So research, news, current events, Perplexity is definitely your answer. And so if you're like, okay, cool, I want to go build stuff. I want to go build an interactive web application. Replit is definitely your answer. Replit is a no-code kind of vibe coding tool that lets you just talk to the application and it goes and builds things for you. It has the ability to create agents now with Agent 3 by Replit. And so you can see it like installs packages, does extended research, has a concept of version control. We have a couple of videos about Replit here on the channel. I'll link those in the description below. But Replit, if you're like, hey, I want to build a real web application, you can. You can do it with Replit, and you can do it without knowing any code. Like, I don't know any code, and I'm able to build pretty good web applications just with regular old language. And if you want to build your own automations and agents, Replit is probably where I would go to start these days if you don't want to be technical and learn how to code. Okay, but if you are technical and you do want to get into the weeds of building AI agents and automations, then N8N is definitely the place you would go. And so N8N is a no-code automation and agent builder. And so in here, you can specify, why and where something starts, the steps and the actions that we'll take. You can call external tools here. Like here, I'm making HTTP request to SUPA data, which is like a database and automation tool. You can run custom code in it to do more sophisticated things with the data and the process that you're getting. You can message a model. You can even call agents from a workflow. And so N8N is an entire channel worth of content. But just know, if you're like, hey, I want to build custom stuff for myself or my business that's not kind of buying it off the shelf, not something that a tool like Manus or Perplexity or an agentic AI platform can do. I want to build this myself. N8N is the place you're going to do it. It's as close to custom coding something as you'll get without writing custom code. If you're wanting to create great looking presentations, you don't want to start from scratch or use some boring looking template, then Gamma is definitely the place to go. Gamma.app creates great looking presentations for you like this one with just a bit of context. So you could do some research, maybe in something like Notebook LM. You could get like a synopsis from a bunch of different sources, plug that into Gamma, and it would create a presentation like this for you. And then what's cool is if this kind of just maybe gets it started for you, then you can share this out, not just to the world, but to PowerPoint or Google Slides. So if you're like, hey, I want the first 80% to be done for me, like literally with a click of a button, then you could export this to Google Slides or to PowerPoint, whichever you use, and kind of finish things from there. So if you're getting information from AI and you want to put it into a presentation style mode, Gamma is your tool. And the last one is voice clones. We talked about HeyGen for visual avatars and video avatars of ourselves. But if you want to clone your own voice, then ElevenLabs is like definitely the industry leader here. And so we created a whole video about this before, but you can create voices just from a prompt. You can use one of the bajillion voices that are already here, or you can clone your own voice. And so we did this previously. We cloned our own voice. You can see it here. So be yourself because you are wonderful just as you are. What did I say? Be yourself because you are wonderful just as you are. Pretty good, right? You can use like the Grammy one.
Well, Sugar, if all we ever do is chase titles and trophies, we're going
right? So like you can do some incredible stuff. You can talk like a pirate.
I face storms that would turn your hair white and sea monsters that would make...
And so if you're like, Craig, this is catchy. I don't really want to talk like a pirate. No, maybe you don't want to talk about a pirate. But maybe you're like, hey, I want to create a whole bunch of content for my team. Like I want to have an internal podcast. Going back to what we do at Castus, we're a podcasting company. Maybe you're like, hey, I want to do an internal kind of like thought leadership company podcast for my team, but I don't have time to sit down and do it every day. I want to just like dictate something to the phone, have AI clean it up for me, and then feed it into something like ElevenLabs and then publish it. And you could build an N8N automation to do that. And ElevenLabs is just like one part of that, so that you don't have to get a fancy microphone and talk to it and sit down in front of the studio every day, right? So I just want to expand your kind of field and thought of opportunity and possibilities here with AI, because it is just allowing us to do so much more work than we would have been able to do previously. But while it's nice to know these use cases for kind of when and how you use these AI tools, check out this video on the 9 AI tools I think we all have to master going into 2026 so we can stay on top of our game as business professionals.